Yeah, hello and welcome everybody. Welcome to our presentation of Secardeo certLife. My name is Gunnar Jakobsson. I'm the CEO and founder of Secardeo. We started in 2001 and we are in the PKI market and offer solutions for certificate management, certificate automation, certificate auto-enrollment, and so on. And what I want to present today is our new version of the software certLife. But before we go into certLife, some words about the topic Certificate Lifecycle Management. Yeah, there are a number of reasons. These are only a few of them. Why you need a solution that supports the management of the certificates. The number of the certificates is increasing drastically. We have multiple types of certificates in an organization. We will see that on the next slide. Typically, you use private CAs and public CAs from the outside. And the lifetimes of certificates are decreasing significantly, especially SSL TLS certificates with duration lower than 1 year. And we have challenges like invalid server certificates, loss of private keys, or even worse, compromisation of private keys. And there are a lot of more arguments to start with the management of these certificates. This is the statistics of Ponemon research. Which applications are you using? And this is what we also see at our customers. So typically customers have certificates for their web servers, SSL TLS, VPN certificates, SMIME certificates for email signature, email encryption, and authentication certificates for devices and for users. And from these applications, we can derive 3 basic types of certificates. These are server certificates, device certificates, and user certificates. And if we look at the enrollment of these certificates, we have a couple of systems that provide the enrollment. In our platform, for example, we have the CertIP, Certificate Enrollment Proxy, that runs Windows auto-enrollment, simulates a Microsoft CA. We have certACME that automates the enrollment of server certificates using the ACME protocol. Then customers have a Microsoft CA, Active Directory Certificate Services, with tons of certificates. We might have external CAs that are not directly linked, but where certificates exist from public CA, for example. And we have SSH keys in place. And at the end, we have thousands or 100,000s of certificates. And the question is, how can we manage these certificates? And for this, we offer a component called certLife for Certificate Lifecycle Management, which is using a central certificate database that can also be used as a key archive. On the next slide, we go a little bit deeper, but still an overview slide. certLife is using a certificate database. This can be a Microsoft SQL Server, MySQL, or SQLite, depends on the customer. And we have connectors for different CAs, private CAs, like a couple of open source CAs that we support, or cloud CAs like Amazon private CA. We have a full integration with the Microsoft CA. I will come more into detail later. And we have connectors for public CAs like SwissSign, DigiCert, GlobalSign, Covadis, whatever. And what is new in certLife version 2 is that we have direct connectors for these CAs. In certLife version 1, we had to go via the CertiP proxy, but now a direct connection is possible. Yeah, certLife provides management functions to a couple of roles. The system is role-based, so we have a couple of roles that have different jobs in the certificate lifecycle, and in addition, we have the option to provide self-services for users and server administrators. certLife, we've seen on the slide before, we've seen the enrollment of certificates from other sources, but certLife also supports the enrollment of certificates in a central way. We call it central auto-enrollment. certLife offers a REST API for integration with other systems. It supports automatic notification, reports, statistics, all tools that you need for the management. Yeah, certLife is full integrated in Active Directory. This means that certLife runs as a IIS web application. We support the Microsoft SQL Server, and the login of the users and administrators is done using Active Directory credentials. We have a couple of roles for the management. We have a certificate manager, we have key recovery agents, approver role, auditor, and on the self-service side, we have the normal user and the administrator. certLife, as well as the other top key products, is using Active Directory certificate templates. So here you can configure the basic attributes that you are familiar from the Microsoft CA, but we support additional attributes that can be configured in certLife. And we also use the Active Directory permissions on these templates. Yeah, and for the enrollment of certificates, we use the attributes from the Active Directory, from the user object, and we can also publish the certificates into Active Directory. And we have a full integration with the Microsoft CA, with the ADCS, where we can request revoke certificates, but also we can synchronize all the certificates and private keys. So a full management of these certificates and keys is possible with certLife. And it's really more comfortable than to manage certificates with the Microsoft tools that you are perhaps familiar with. Yeah, what's new in certLife is this dashboard. The dashboard is a simple view on the status of the certificates. How many active certificates do you have? How many were issued, revoked, whatever? Who were the top requesters of certificates? And here you have graphics about certificates issued by CA, by certificate template, by key size, signature algorithms, whatever. So this is just a brief view on the overall status. So if we go into the certificate management operations, the basic tool is the search console, where you can either perform a basic search, just enter a string and search, then you will get the results, or you have also the option to use an advanced search. You can select templates, attributes, or you can also filter for certain status of the certificate. What's new here is you can also search for crypto parameters now, algorithms, key sizes, signature algorithms, whatever. So this is also possible. And what's also possible now is you can adjust the view on these entries. So you can define other columns that you want to see here, for example, crypto parameters, and you can also move the columns from left to right or the other way around. So you can customize the view. Yeah, and if you select one certificate, the certificate details dialog will open, where you have a couple of information. This is, by the way, this is the full view. You can reduce the view, of course. On the top, you have the information about the requester. Then you have the content of the certificate itself, issuer, requester, crypto parameters, whatever. Then we have a section about the delegation of the certificate. I will come to this later on. Information about the status, history of the certificate, and optional metadata that you can use, like owner, location, notification, or notes that you want to store. By the way, these metadata are customizable, so you can add organization-specific metadata if you like. Yeah, and then the user has a couple of operations that are possible. For example, with a simple click, he can renew the certificate. He can delegate or undo the delegation of the certificate, and he can revoke the certificate. Delegation means that from this point, the user to whom you delegate the certificate will see it also in his list, and will have all the operations on the certificate except that delegation that you have. And this is possible for users and also administrators. Yeah, another tool is the statistics tool. This is a Windows-based tool where you can calculate the statistics, here's a total view on the certificates. You can select templates, say, okay, I only want my SSL template to show. Here you see the active, expired, and revoked certificates. And here is a time diagram, a yearly diagram in this case. Yeah, these were the overall management features. Now I go deeper into the self-services. The first is the admin self-service. So an administrator can log in and he has the role administrator. He can, for example, request a new certificate using manual parameters. Here you see he will select a template. Then he can enter the subject attributes like common name, country, organization, and he can also add subject alternative names like a DNS name or other attributes. So when you request the certificate is issued, and then he can download the certificate or the certificate with a private key in different formats. In version 2, new is the PEM format because he is 8 PEM encoded. And after downloading, he will see the certificate in his certificate list. And this is also new. And this is equivalent to the user self-service, but we have now this list also for the administrators, so they have a comfortable view on their own certificates and the certificates that have been delegated to them. Another option in this scenario, the key pair is generated centrally and you can download the private key. The other scenario is that the key pair is generated on your server machine, and you generate a CSR, and you can copy paste the CSR into this form. It will be decoded here. You can read the content of the CSR. And what's new in version 2 is you can also browse for a file and upload a file instead of copy and pasting it. Okay. Next operation that is possible is to select certificates from the file system and to upload these certificates into the database. This is possible for X509 certificates. It's possible also for private keys from a BKCS 12 container. The keys will, after uploading, these keys will be re-encrypting using KRA certificates, and then they will be archived in the top key database. So only the KRAs can decrypt and recover these private keys. New in version 2 is the support for SSH keys. The administrator can upload public SSH keys or also private SSH keys. And in this case, these keys will also be archived using a KRA certificate. Yeah, the user self-service, if a user logs on with the role user, he will see all his certificates in a list. He can request new certificates. In this scenario, only build from Active Directory is supported, so the user can do no dangerous things. So everything comes from Active Directory. He can download certificates, keys. He can renew, revoke his own keys. And for archived private keys, he can recover these keys, push the keys by mail, for example, to his mobile device. He can also delegate his keys. This means that the user, where he delegates it to, will also be able to recover the private key afterwards. Yeah, besides this self-service, we have also an automated mechanism to generate certificates. We call it central auto-enrollment. The central auto-enrollment is a service that monitors a central auto-enrollment group in the Active Directory. And if new users come to the group, they will be taken from the Active Directory, and a certificate will be enrolled for this user. The enrolled certificates will be available in the user self-service of that user from that point of time. But in order to provide these keys and certificates in a comfortable way, we have a couple of options. One option is to use the CertWin client. This is a Windows-based software which retrieves certificates using the REST API. The CertWin starts typically automatically when the user logs on, independent of the machine where the user logs on. The complete certificate history is downloaded. Or the other option is to use the CertPush component that will automatically upload the certificates and private keys to the mobile device management platform into the user profile, and from the MDM, then the certificates and keys can be automatically distributed to the devices of the user. Yeah, we talked about the REST API. The REST API offers all the methods that are available also on the user self-service and admin self-service web interface. And the REST API can be used by corporate applications, like we have customers that use Ansible or ServiceNow in order to integrate with the certificate management. The authentication of these client applications is also done via Windows authentication, and that means that we can make also a role-based authorization of the methods that are called, and from these clients can then request certificates, revoke, or just download certificates or recover keys. Yeah, so there are many features inside of certLife, and they have to be configured, of course. And for this, we have a Windows application where you have a couple of tabs for configuring database, key archival, notifications, central auto-enrollment, roles, self-services, or backend CAs. And this is the backend CA tab. In this example, we have a Swisssign CA. By the way, it is possible to use, in the Enterprise Edition of certLife, it is possible to use multiple CAs in parallel. So you have the Add CA button, and you could add a DigiCert CA or a Microsoft CA, whatever. And then you have to enter the parameters that are required to access the API of the backend CA. Yeah, and then we have the template tab. I will come into this on the next slide. The template is based on an Active Directory certificate template. So you select an AD template, and you will configure the interface of the backend CA for this template. We have a couple of template types for admin self-service, user self-service, for auto-enrollment, for the external enrollment, which means upload of the certificate. And then we have a new type, which is called device. This makes sense, especially if you have private CAs like the Microsoft CA, and if you want to manage device certificates. Then we have additional attributes for the processing of the requests. We have a new feature called group sharing. Group sharing means that certificates of this template will be shared with the group. You can define a group of administrators. So if one administrator of the group requests a certificate, the certificate will immediately be available to all the other admins of the group. And so they have all the options that I demonstrated before. Yeah, then we have the delegation feature. By the way, all this can be activated or deactivated. We have the option to archive private keys, or even to synchronize the certificates from a Microsoft CA's database. And this can be done on a template basis. So you need not to synchronize all the Microsoft CA certificates. You can reduce it to SSL certificates, user certificates, whatever. Yeah, and then you can define additional name attributes. For example, you can define static attributes like organization or country, and this means that all certificates that are requested will provide, at the end, they will provide these static attributes, country and organization, for example. And we have other attributes. We have dynamic types where you can add rules how the common name is calculated. For example, you can configure it that the common name is taken from the given name and the surname in the Active Directory. So you can add specific Active Directory attributes, and you can also define the SAN settings. What is now new in the version 2 is that you can also define rules for the or ranges, let's say ranges of the SAN DNS names, for example. So at the end, you cannot, you can only, you can say it's allowed to enter Secardeo.com or asterisk.secardeo.com and not google.com. So google.com would be rejected at the end. So yeah, now when everything is configured, it's interesting how the processing of the requests works. So we have all these sources where certificate can be requested. The key pair can either be generated in certLife or the public key is provided in the CSR. The CSR is then analyzed. We make the validation of the SAN attributes. We have modification features, or you can add the configured attributes to the request, or you can even build the request from Active Directory attributes. So then if approval is required in the certificate template, it goes to the approver queue, and the only a person with the role approver or the certificate manager can approve the request. After that, it will be submitted to the CA, and the CA will issue the certificate, and after receiving the certificate is stored in the database. We perform key archival if this is required in the template. We will publish the certificate to the Active Directory if defined in the template, and we can also optionally send notification about the issuance of the certificate. Yeah, now let's have a look at the integration. certLife works together with a couple of other components. So basically, we have the integration with backend CAs with a direct connection. A special CA is the Microsoft CA, Active Directory Certificate Services. We have two ways to integrate. One is to use the DCOM RPC mechanism, and the other one is to go via the web enrollment interface using HTTP. As I told you, we have a synchronization component that is governed by the templates. So if a template is configured for synchronization, the synchronization service will do the job, and afterwards these certificates are available in the certificate database. As I told you, there's also an option to perform an indirect enrollment using certP. So this is the old scenario of certLife version 1. This is still possible. So if you are a customer who has certLife version 1 running, you can use this old way, or you can change it to the new direct enrollment way. Yeah, and you can also use certLife for the approval of certificate requests that have been done using certP. Yeah, then we have certACME. certACME is also integrated. We have a new feature in certACME, which is called certificate or request acceptance, where you can activate a ACME client so that you can allow him to do the to perform the ACME protocol. This is similar to the approval scenario for certP. Yeah, as I told you, we have the external certificates that can be uploaded into the certificate database. And what's perhaps also interesting is integration with Intune. It is possible to upload, to import certificates and private keys from the certLife database using a component called certPush. certPush will upload the certificates and private keys into the user account in the Intune configuration. Another scenario is you can enroll certificates triggered by Intune, and you can use the certP because the CertP has the same interfaces as the Microsoft CA, so you can enroll certificates for users or computers using Intune and the connection with CertP. Yeah, so now I think we are at the end of the presentation. Just to make a summary of it. So what we learned is certLife provides an efficient management of all certificate types from multiple CAs, if you need that. We can manage private keys, we can manage SSH keys, and we have a comfortable self-service for administrators and users. It offers automated notifications, statistics. We have a lot of mechanisms for integration with other topic components, with Microsoft CA, or even with individual solutions at the customer side using the REST API. Yeah, new, we have advanced features like group sharing of certificates, delegation of private keys, definition of custom metadata, and if you need that, we can also support multiple languages for certLife. Yeah, so I want to thank you very much. I hope it was helpful for you, this presentation. And yeah, now I'm wondering if there are questions and answers. Not, I forgot to tell you, there is the option to submit questions. As I've seen, there are none. If you have questions afterwards, you may send us just an email. The best is to send it to the info account, info@secardeo.com, or my email address, gunnar.jakobson@secardeo.com, and then we will answer your questions. Okay, so thank you very much for your attention and have a nice day. Goodbye.